welcome to another video. In today's video, what I'm going to be doing is walking you through this car which I have in my garage, and I'm going to be explaining how I would actually convert this into a Night Rider replica car. Now this is a Trans Am that I've recently purchased. I only purchased it literally for a couple of different parts that I needed off the car. I've now sold this car and it's actually getting picked up later today. So this is no longer my car. However, I wanted to take this opportunity to actually go through and explain exactly what I would do if I was to convert this into a Night Rider replica car. Now, as you know, I've spent the last year and a half doing my own conversion. My Night Rider car is all finished now. Now, after everything I've learned, everything I've done over the last year and a half, there's lots of different things that I would now do different. But obviously, you can only learn by all this after you've actually done it, and made certain mistakes. So I'm going to walk you through and explain how you could potentially make this into a Night Rider car, and the actual process that I would now use in order to do that. So what we've got here is I wrote down an actual list. This is how I would do it, okay? There's 9 different things, yeah? The first thing I would do on a car like this is I would gut the car, yeah? It's kind of common sense, but I'm just gonna walk you through each stage. First thing I would do is gut the car, completely take everything out of it, take all of the interior out. Now, I have already taken the carpet out. When I purchased this car, the carpet was already in, so I had to spend many hours taking the carpet out, but that's definitely the first thing that I would do, yeah? Now, luckily on this car, there's still 1982 door panels on this car, okay? They're not in brilliant condition. They, admittedly, they're not brilliant. However, you could potentially clean them up and make them look quite nice. It just depends what your budget really is. Now you can see on the inside of the car, I've laid all of the plastic panels in the car ready for the next owner. Now, as I just said, I've spent a lot of time taking all of the carpet out. The center console is out, the carpet is out, everything is basically in there. I've just laid like the panels in there. There's some things at the back there also. There's some like seals. There's the rear roller blinds and stuff like that. So the new owner can basically just take the car and just kind of begin his conversion pretty quickly. There's not really a lot on the inside now that needs to be taken out. I've done a lot of the crappy dirty work. Now, moving on. The door panels are there, so they're, I think they are very close to what you would actually need anyway. I believe this car is a 1984 car, so a lot of the panels on this car are already going to be very close to what you would actually need for the Night Rider replica build. Well, I say very close. They are going to be the panels you need. This has already got the clear glass at the top there. Yeah, it's already got the T-bar roof. Yeah, it already has the actual the scoop. Yeah, on the actual Trans Am hood at the front there. As I said, it's already got the door panels. I believe they are a 1982 style door panel. Now, when you do the Night Rider replica build, you do need to make sure that you have the right door panels. Now, it is entirely up to you, but I went for the exact 1982 door panels, or as close as I could get to them. So you need something very similar to what is here. If you want to know what I've done on my car, obviously just go back and watch some other videos and you'll see exactly how my panels look. So going back to this list, so that's the first thing that you need to do is gut the car. Just take all of the stuff out, give it a good sort out inside, you know, get all the old carpet out. Now, obviously this is only if you do want to get rid of the internal carpet, of the interior carpet. If the carpet's good, obviously you can leave it in. But one of the things you need to bear in mind is if you want to spray the car, having a carpet inside is not really a good idea. You really want to get the carpet out. Not only that, but you can see all the floors, you can see everything in there with the carpet out. So it's good to just take it back to the steel, okay, and then basically start again, because once you start the night rider conversion, it's going to cost a lot of money, and you don't want to then have to start taking carpet up again in so many months' time, because you may think you've got a leak, or you may think there's some problems under the carpet somewhere. So my advice is just take the carpet out and then just refit everything. Even if you're going to use the same carpet, I would still take it out. But in my very honest opinion, I would just buy new carpet, because if you're going to do a nice night rider build like I have, a brand new carpet makes it look beautiful. So I would definitely do that. So you've got the car. The next thing you need to do is the welding and the chassis work. So that's going to be something that you need to do before you even start thinking about doing the night rider build, because the chassis work and any welding that you need is very important. Now this car, I've already sold this car, as I think I've already mentioned. I've looked over the car and there's a couple of tiny little bits that need to be welded, but that's it. Okay, it does look pretty solid, it looks pretty good. So this is potentially a very good car to use for a night rider conversion. So that's the first thing that I would do, is weld up the pieces that need to be welded up. Yeah, check over the chassis and just basically make sure everything underneath is good. This is the easiest time to do this, because there's actually no engine in the car either, so you've got no weight. There's lots of things that you can access that you possibly wouldn't be able to access if you had an engine in. So they're definitely the next things that I would do, is check over the car, any welding that you need to do, any chassis work, you know, any suspension, stuff like that. Then I would give it a full respray. Before you obviously give it a full respray, obviously take off all your rubbers, everything on your door panels, rubbers, seals, everything. Give it a full respray, and the engine bay. Now when I did mine, I couldn't give it a full respray because I was still using the car when I was doing the conversion, so it was a little bit different for me. But if I had to do it all over again, this is what I would do. I would gut the entire car, as I've just said, the last couple of steps. Then I would spray the entire car, yeah, the engine bay, and I would do everything without any of the interior in. Yeah, that is the easiest way to do it. So give the car a full respray if you can. Make sure that you have your night rider nose here on your car before you think about spraying anything. Yeah, because what I found is, and again, I had to do things slightly different because I was using my car as I was trying to improve it. So it's a little bit different for me. When you spray the car, make sure that you have already purchased your night rider nose, because if you haven't and your nose doesn't line up to your wings, you may need to move things around. And when you start to do that, you're going to cause a mess and possibly damage some of the panels that you've just sprayed. So get your night rider nose, make sure everything is aligned. This is one of the problems I had when I fitted my bonnet and my nose and everything, is that things didn't line up. The chances of it lining up perfectly as soon as you put it on is slim. Yeah, you may need to just adjust a couple of things. You may need to adjust your hood, you may need to adjust some of your lights, some of these, and maybe the actual height of your bonnet, of your hood as well. So it really depends on the type of car you have. Yeah, you can sometimes get lucky and it may just go straight on, or you may have to fiddle around a little bit and get it to fit. So make sure that you get your night rider nose. They're not cheap, but if you can buy a new one, that's brilliant. If you can't, and you can just get a used one, again, that's fine. But just make sure that you put it on the car and everything is basically on the car when you spray it. Yeah, you don't want to have to do anything afterwards. So the next thing is the engine. This is what I would do. I would then go out and find an engine for the car. You should be able to find one pretty easily. This is an automatic. This is a 5 litre V8 automatic. You should be able to find these pretty easily. Again, the new owner that's now got this car has obviously got to find an engine, but because the engine's already out, he can now spray all of the engine bay. You know, he can sort everything out, give it a nice big overhaul. And if I had this car with the engine in, I would have taken the engine out anyway. So it's one of the jobs that you wouldn't now need to do, is take the engine out. I would definitely be taking the engine out, giving it a good refurb and stuff like that. Again, it's not something I could do on my car because the engine was running fine. I didn't need to take the engine out, and it was just more cost and more time that I would have had to put into the project, and I really didn't have that extra time and money to do it. Yeah, so just find an engine. The engine shouldn't really be a difficult, you might be able to do it yourself. I can't fit engines and stuff like that. I would have had to pay. That's something that you can do and you can figure out along the way. Next, electrics overhaul. Once you get your engine in fact, you could probably do this before. It's entirely up to you. Is when you fit the engine, or just before you fit the engine, give your electrics an overhaul, because there's going to be a lot of electrics that you're going to have to rely on and use when you use this as a night rider car. Not only that, but it's just good to just give it an overhaul of the electrics. Just get somebody underneath. You might be able to do it. If you can't, obviously you're going to have to pay someone to give it an overhaul on the electrics. Make sure everything is fused, everything is good. Because one of the things you will find is once you get the night rider dashboard on and all of your consoles in place, it is a nightmare to try and find any wires. So this is why you need to do it before and not after. Once that's done, I would do the night rider electronics trial run. So this is, again, I didn't do this, but this is what I would do if I had to do it all over again, is I would get the car completely sprayed. I would get an engine in the car, make sure the electrics are all good, yeah, make sure the car's looking nice from the outside. And then, before you do any of the interior, I would get the night rider, I would buy your night rider electronics, buy all of your night rider electronics, and don't do anything else until you can get your night rider electronics together and everything works, and you can do a trial run. Basically put it in your car and make sure everything works. This is important because once you have the tan interior and you've got your PMD seats, yeah, once you've got your PMD seats in and everything's looking nice, you don't want to be messing around trying to put your night rider dashboard in and trying to work on the upper console. I've been there, I've done that. And it really isn't much fun, because once you've got a nice interior, you don't want to be in there working on the inside of the car. It just isn't a good move, because it's tan interior, tan door panels, the smallest little bit of grit or dirt to hit any of your seats or your carpet, and that could basically spoil the entire look of your interior, yeah, with a couple of marks. So again, if I had to do this, this is how I would do this car. I would make sure that you get the electronics all in there and fitted as a trial run. So you can connect things up to make sure everything works and it fits properly. It's nice and flush, there's no big gaps. You can put the upper console in, lower console in. Once that is all done, take it out and then move on to the next step, which is going to be fitting all interior. Yeah, fit all the interior. And then, you know, afterwards, after you've fitted the interior, you know that your night rider electronics are all going to fit because you've already done a trial run. And that's something that I wish I could have done, but I couldn't because of the process, because of the way I did things. And when I bought the car, I already had the dashboard in, and I was trying to use the car as I did the project, as opposed to just take it off the road for 2 years, until it's finished. I didn't really want to do that. So fit all the interior, fit Night Rider electronics. So you fit the Night Rider electronics after you've done the interior, yeah, and then you know everything's going to be working fine. And then the finishing touches. But one thing I will just go back to, I think I missed, is the extra power. Okay, what that means is when you do the electrics overhaul, you need to install extra power for your Night Rider electronics. If you go back on some of my videos where I show you my internal electric system, I've got a big leisure battery that sits there. So when you do the electronics overhaul, you want to get your electrical guy or whoever does the work to run lots of wires in. So you've got a leisure battery, you've got a cut-off switch and stuff like that, maybe an inverter if you need an inverter. But this is the time to run all the wires through your car. Get everything fused to the front of your car, okay, and get all that done at that stage. So that's going to be at the stage of your electrics overhaul, okay, all of your extra power to run your Night Rider dashboard and your lights. I don't rely on my car battery for those. I have external power, extra power. And lastly, finishing touches. These are going to be little things that I'm now doing on my car. These are going to be just little things. Your center console, okay, this is the 1982 center console. When you put your lid, your armrest lid on there, you could make some tweaks inside. Some people use them for different electronics. You can put electronics in there. I don't personally have that at the moment, but that's something that I may tweak at some stage. You can also tweak other things, such as if you've not got like a rear cargo hatch, there's actually a rear cargo cover that goes over the back there. That's something that I now need to do, okay? I'm now going to put my cover over there. It's like a flap that comes down. So just little things like that you can do at the end. They're not things that you absolutely must do before you finish the car. I mean, it would be nice, but these are just little finishing touches that you can make towards the end of the conversion. But it's entirely up to you. I'm at the finishing touches stage now, so you can either do it how I've done it, or just completely finish the car before you take it out of your workshop and you start to use it. So it's entirely up to you. But that's pretty much it. That is how I would do this conversion if I had this car now. Okay, so everything I've learned over the last year and a half, I've learned a hell of a lot, spent a lot of money, made some mistakes. But if I had this car, what I've just said, what I've just explained there is exactly what I would do. Of course, there's a few little extra things in between that I could have mentioned, you know, more details, but I didn't want this video to go on too long. But hopefully I've mentioned most of the important things. So this is how I would do it. So hopefully that's helped. If you're thinking about building one of these cars, that is exactly what I would do. If you had a car similar to this that came and it was ready to be converted, you want to make sure that the chassis of the car is good and also it's mechanically sound. Don't even think about doing the conversion if you've got rusty suspension, or if the floor's all rusty, or if everything's falling apart. Because if you then try and do the Night Rider conversion on top of a bad car, then it's going to cost you so much money further down the road, because you're going to have to take things out of the car to then work on it, and that is just that would be a complete nightmare. So just don't do it that way. Instead, spend the extra time making sure the car is mechanically sound before you go on to the next stage. Okay, these cars do take some time, but if you've got a little bit more attention to detail from the start, it will definitely pay off further down the road. It certainly has for me. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.